Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Just Plain Living. I'm John Gray.
Good morning, I'm Peggy Burton.
And I'm Jim Fuller.
Yes, you are.
And full of it.
Glad to be here this morning.
Me too. How
For
about
the
you?
I am glad to be here.
1,713th time. I don't know.
Is that it?
I don't know.
Is that all?
20
I
years
don't know.
worth. How
I don't
many?
know, but I was
that?
just a kid when I started doing this show.
52 weeks times 20.
I'm still
Yeah.
nervous about the guy walking over the Grand Canyon. Did you watch that?
No, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you watch it?
Yes. My heart stopped. I mean, it's amazing.
Why did you watch that?
Because
you want him to waiting to see
No.
if he was going to fall.
He did it because he had to do it. It wasn't because he chose to do it. He came from a family of tightrope walkers.
Walendas, yeah.
The Walendas, and he
Yeah.
had to do it. And I was so proud of him. And he prayed the whole time.
I'm proud.
Well, there was never any question in my mind that he was going to make it because he met with Joel Osteen prior, the minister.
And Joel saved him.
Yeah.
But he had no
So-
tether. He had nothing. He was just up there by himself.
The thing about that is, and what I heard said was, if that line would have been 3 feet off the floor,
He'd have fallen off.
I mean, it would. There's no issue about anything.
Yeah.
But when you're 1,800 feet above,
It's just phenomenal to me.
And the wind
because
gust.
If you have ever walked across a canyon, even on a bridge with a rail,
Yeah.
the wind almost sucks you under. It's amazing. I don't know how he did it.
I don't either.
I'm proud of him.
I don't like heights in the first place myself. I'm scary. I'm a
Jimmy.
10-foot ladder.
it's amazing how we change and how we go from 10 foot tall and bulletproof as we age.
As you age, you get a little more careful.
I can remember putting, back when we used to have wooden gable vents that would go in the ends of the houses for ventilation instead of now they're ridge vents on the roof. I can remember taking 2 ladders and tying them together with baling wire and putting a vent on my shoulder and climbing up and taking a nail and sticking it up there and sticking it in the thing with my hammer with one hand and
you weren't
nailing
afraid.
that in. And now I don't even want to clean my gutters on a 1-story house. Because
I agree.
well, I've had a lot of friends, several friends, who have fallen off. Well, and Anthony Lohorn
Exactly.
fell off and died off of a ladder.
Just off
Short
of a ladder, sure.
Jim Conley fell off one and broke his hand and went through terrible surgeries and stuff. You can get hurt really bad.
Yes, you can.
You don't have to fall real far to get hurt bad. 1,800 feet.
1,800 feet.
Well,
Oh, my God.
if you fall there, it's over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's over before you even get to the bottom.
Do you think you die
Probably
before
so.
you land?
I would.
Oh, you'd have a heart attack. Right?
Yeah, I'd heart attack about 15 feet down.
I've always wondered that moment of terror, would that be exhilarating or would it be devastating? We don't know.
Well,
We don't know how
you
to
got
judge it.
1,800 feet to figure it out.
It's scary. Anyway,
I tell you what I'd have done if I were him.
you would have had a good stiff drink before you got on
Yeah.
that thing.
I would have had, you've seen these in the movies and now in commercials. You see these people diving off of mountaintops with looking like they're in their clothes, and they raise their arms and legs out, and they have webbing in the middle that catches the wind, and
yeah.
they
Yeah.
pretty much
So they're
fly.
sort of flying.
I'd have had one of those on
You'd
if I
have
was
seen
him. That might have been cheating, but nobody would have known it.
Yeah, somebody jumped off Mount Everest
Yeah.
a few weeks ago, didn't they? Doing that, using that theory there. So
So
It's
there's
kind of
ways
interesting,
to
yeah.
cheat this deal.
Oh,
yeah.
But he probably didn't do
We
that.
got a lot going on this week. Do you know it?
This town
This
is
is
one
a
of the busiest. This area is one of the busiest areas I've ever seen. It starts pre-Bonnaroo with Music Tree, and it's run
And it goes
through
solid.
that into the car show, Moon Pie Festival. Now we've got the Sesquicentennial celebration
Coming up this weekend.
This weekend, and all kinds of things happening. Just amazing.
It is amazing. Oh, the little camp people, no, they did their show last week. But Pinocchio's coming up at the Civic Center pretty soon. And Soldier Come Home is
Soldier
this
Come
weekend.
Home is this weekend.
And that should be a great production. And the gentleman that wrote the play, he and his family are coming.
Right.
From a long distance.
And that will
It's
be
really
performed
nice.
at South Jackson Civic Center twice
10 o'clock in the
on
morning.
Saturday. And
John-
our friend Don Jones, who was on here playing guitar recently, is playing a piece, the music that was on public television about the Civil War series that they had. And Don is going to play that piece of music after each one of the plays.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He's an awesome
Yeah,
guitarist.
and it will add greatly. And we have Blossom Merriman on here today, and she is in charge of the Mitchell Museum at South Jackson Civic Center, and they have special things they're doing because of the sesquicentennial.
Exactly.
And it's just, the town's just going to be full and hopping. And something else exciting has happened. Brenda Kemp, my friend
Oh,
Brenda
yeah, it's
Kemp,
open in the shoe store.
has opened up a shoe store
All you
called
ladies that are looking for
Bryn's
shoes.
Shoe Boutique, and she is having an open house this Saturday, and that is located at the Village on Jackson, which is across from
Is that close to Ruby Tuesdays, sort of?
well, it's right past Ruby Tuesdays. The building past Ruby Tuesdays headed out of town, and she's in Suite 120. And you need to stop by. We'll show you her commercial here on the show at some point today. But you need to stop by and see Brenda. She has an incredible selection of shoes that you won't have to drive to find anymore.
And shoes are her thing. you say.
Yeah, she has several hundred
100
pair.
Yeah.
And she's a shoeinista.
That's cute. Did you make that up? Shoeinista?
Well, no,
No,
not
you didn't,
but
okay.
I use.
You
She
use
calls
that.
herself a shoeinista, and so that is, matter of fact, involved in her advertising. Can you imagine that?
I can't. And also on the show today, I have Alicia and Andrew Booker, and we're going to talk about his service dog dreams of having. So
Yeah, this
you'll
is
stay tuned.
stay tuned for that, because this is a really, really interesting segment that will be coming up. That everybody needs to understand more about what goes on in other people's lives, and we all need to be less centered on ourselves
Exactly.
and more open to the world. All we need is love.
All we need
Bright
is
man.
love.
Bright man said that. Who
I think
was
I
that?
saw
That was Lennon, wasn't it?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
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 I didn't always agree with everything he wrote.
Imagine. Jacob, my son, sang at our little Sunday night thing we had at church. We're having every week over at the First Christian Church, which is called Table Talk, which we have some entertainment and we talk about something and
That's a neat
split up
idea.
in groups. But he sang John Lennon's Imagine, and if you hadn't listened to it in a while, listen to it. That's a great way to live. What's said in that song.
He did a good job,
Yeah.
I know. Your son is a tremendous talent. Not only
well.
is he funny, he's also
Did
talented.
he get that
and
from John, you think?
Oh, no, Fran. No way.
Fran all the way. Fran all the way. That's where his brain. That's where everything comes from. Every time he messes up, which we all mess up from time to time.
He
I
blames it
claim
on you.
that.
You claim that.
I'll claim.
You know, I've told this story at least 10 times on this show, but it's always funny to me. Back when we were doing the telethons, and Fran is she's a perfectionist at what
Oh, I
she
know,
does.
I know.
And Fran and John were during rehearsals were trying to work up this song.
She's gonna kill me and you
Yeah,
too.
and here's Fran. She's doing it perfect every time,
And y'all are
she
screwing up.
don't get it that John's a bar singer. You know, you do things different when you're a bar singer. That you know,
Oh, sure.
and it came out wonderful, but it was really a battle for her to try to
She
get
was frustrated.
John into shape to do this song the way it's supposed
Reel
to be.
me into where that
Yeah.
note's really supposed to be.
And how
Yeah.
I
long-
sort of slide into it, you know.
And you're still married, right? You're
That's sort of
still
like when
married.
somebody said the other day, talking about singing. He said Wayne Stevens, who has been in numerous plays with Jacob, and he was over at the church the other night. Wayne's going to play at one Sunday night, and he said, you know, a bad note is only a bad note if you let people know. You can sing it twice, and then they think you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Or it's only a half a note, a half a step away from the right note. normally.
Right.
So if you can slide right into they think you know what you're doing.
And you
so.
don't know how true that is when you're doing karaoke, because there's the band obviously can play anything, so
Right.
you have no idea what somebody might ask for.
And so you just sit up there and slide into your notes.
Yeah, you go right into it, and hopefully you know enough about the song to know that, you know, when I get there I can't hit that
And you
note.
forget that
So I'm gonna have to improvise there.
You both forget
Yeah.
that there's one sober person out there that really knows music.
That helps a lot. That helps a lot.
Everybody's a star by about 10 o'clock.
Exactly.
Everybody's a star. That was a lot of fun, you know.
Yeah, it was.
When we did those
Your
shows.
Legion days.
Yeah, well, and you know, everybody got involved, and people sing in the shower. Music is a wonderful thing. There's music in everybody. They might not be talented at it, they might not be good at it, but they think they are, and they have fun. Everybody has fun singing.
I hope so.
They do. And so karaoke gave everyone the opportunity to go on stage.
And sing. Is
and
karaoke
sing.
as big now as it was when it first started?
It was a huge hit when it first started because it was different, and it gave everybody the opportunity to do it. I think probably it's as big, but it's done in a lot more places, and so the shows are not as big, but a lot of people have become pretty good singers from that.
Just by doing karaoke.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what, Brian?
You, Jim Fuller. His singing, because Wendell Hartman, our buddy Wendell Hartman, is the one who brought the first karaoke machine across the Mississippi River.
I know, he was smart.
And he and Jimmy did karaoke shows, and Jimmy became the singer that he is today because he worked hard at it.
Tullahoma's own Frank Sinatra.
Because you know when you're going out to a industry or a Christmas party that somebody's having, and you got to sing for what, Jimmy, 30 minutes, 45 minutes maybe?
Yeah, well, in the early days, it was much harder to get somebody to sing when we first started than it is now.
Yeah,
and you got to be able to do about an hour probably total if to get you through the night.
And not scratching and squalling, but in a way that's comfortable and enjoyable for people. And I want to give Jimmy a accommodation for working very, very, very hard to get himself to where he could do that in a very professional way, because that was something that was kind of off the line from what he normally did, and he worked very hard to do that and became very accomplished.
It was really, at times it was big time fun, because there's nothing like, as you know, Peggy, being a singer, it's nothing like being out in front of a crowd and doing that kind of thing. And I'm glad that I had an opportunity to do that. But on the front end of this thing, it was like every Sunday I'm spending half a day trying to learn what we realized that we needed to know from the show the night before, and so I'm spending every Sunday. And at that point,
do you still do it?
No, not much anymore.
You should.
At Christmas, maybe.
And we'll end this segment with this. We had a PAC camp at South Jackson for the past 2 weeks, and that's Performing Arts for Teens and Children. And there were 130 young people there learning what it's like to be on stage and be involved with tech and set design and singing and dancing. The stage at South Jackson and all other small stages like that are a very, very important part in the community where you live, because the arts define the community where you live, and it's wonderful to see all these young people on that stage, and maybe some of them might like it so much
they'll grow up
that they grow up
help.
and go on and do something else in the arts. We'll be right back after these messages with today's show. It's a good one. Don't you go away.
What is Rotary? We're a network of people like you. In fact, we're the original social network. More than 1 million of us live just about everywhere you can think of. And we mean everywhere. We get together to exchange ideas, grow our businesses, and make new friends. We volunteer to help our own communities or someone else's. We're right around the corner. Come join us. The name is Rotary. Rotary International. You're welcome.
This facility was built literally on the international date line to bring Charter customers tomorrow's technology first. Like Charter Internet, which was just made faster again. With speeds up to 100 megs, you can download a movie in 2 minutes. The #1 internet service provider in the nation. Click.
Fogelman, good luck with the presentation tomorrow.
Already nailed it.
Get Charter Internet Express for only $19.99 a month.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our segment we call Police Pointers, and we're pleased to have with us Paul Blackwell, the Chief of Police here in Tullahoma. And Paul and I were talking about an interesting subject before we came on the air, but we'll put that aside. Maybe get back to it later. But fireworks coming up.
They are. Earlier, y'all talked about how many activities we had going on last week, this week, coming week, and of course next week being July 4th, when we celebrate independence. What comes with that? Picnics, water activities, and fireworks.
Right.
So what we like to do is remind people about the fireworks ordinance. You know, from kids to adults like fireworks. I don't think I could say what age range seems to enjoy it the most,
right.
but we like to remind people of what the ordinances are and ask them to please be respectful of their neighbors.
Right.
And we try to do that through programs like this, through the newspaper, through other media outlets, to let people know that we do have ordinances against it that regulate it. And unfortunately, violations can carry a monetary fine. What's interesting is on the 20th, June 20th, that's each year, the fireworks can be sold, the beginning date, and then they have to end on July 5th. So it's regulated, and the tents are up, the fireworks are stocked, and people are buying them. But what also goes with that is we're not in that window yet where you can shoot them. You can buy them,
okay,
but you can't shoot them yet.
Yeah.
And also interesting, some of the other ordinance, people under 16 aren't supposed to buy fireworks. So when you go to these tents and you see all these people mingling around the tents looking at fireworks, they shouldn't be selling them to someone that's under 16 years of age. So when can you shoot fireworks? It starts on July 1st. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, you can shoot them from 10 o'clock in the morning until 10:30 at night. And then on July 4th, they give you an extra hour, so you can shoot them up until 11:30 at night. And, you know, I think most people in our community understand, okay, there's a period to shoot them, but when it hits that ending time, a lot of our folks expect quit shooting them.
Right.
And
well, that's
you know,
quite reasonable.
It is. It's very reasonable.
Right.
You know, there's nothing a little more frustrating than you're in bed at 10:30, 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then you hear a boom, and that your neighbors are out firing the fireworks.
Right.
Last year, the police responded to 48 calls for assistance from the public about fireworks.
Because people shooting them
afterwards, or they're just shooting. You know, it's still a noise disturbance.
Right.
So if you were to call and say, my neighbors are just, it may be 7 o'clock at night, that my neighbors are just going ballistic with these fireworks, we can still tell them to quit doing it because of a noise disturbance. And that's what some of our calls are. It's just, or people will call that, hey, they're shooting fireworks and they're coming over onto my roof or into my yard, and that's a violation.
Right.
The way the ordinance reads is, if you're shooting them, you have to have permission of the property owner where it's going to. I think we've all awakened in the morning after some fireworks to find the bottle rockets in your front yard, or you look on your roof and you see some bottle rockets on your roof, and it's really kind of frustrating, or could be scary.
This is probably a question for the fire chief, but I guess it could be a fire hazard, could it not?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Okay.
So the way the ordinance reads is, if you're doing that, you're supposed to have permission of the people whose property the fireworks are shooting onto or over. That's going to be hard to enforce, but we do have to deal with that type stuff.
Right.
So firework keeps us busy. And we only have limited number of manpower. You can't be everywhere at once.
And when you mentioned you had 48 calls last year, is that over the entire period that they were available
for
sale?
That's from the 20th to the 5th. I tried to limit that number.
Right.
And the year prior, we had in the 70s. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of calls.
Right.
And it's generally at nighttime. And, so fireworks create a lot of activity for us, the police. Depending on what the weather is, I'm sure Chief Shasteen could say it raises a real concern for them during, if it's a hot day or a dry day, the shooting of fireworks.
Wasn't there some question last year or the year before about whether or not they were going to permit people to shoot fireworks?
Right, and the fire chief does have the ability to ban fireworks due to the weather conditions.
Right.
So that's always a possibility.
Right.
We also have regulations that say where you can shoot them. You can't be within 600 feet of a church, an assisted living. Mm-hmm. There's other businesses that you can't be close to.
Right.
And in fact, you can't be within 200 feet of a place that sells the fireworks for the fear of igniting all the fireworks.
Yeah, that could be huge.
And our fire department does an outstanding job of checking these places for fire safety precautions.
Right.
Because again, you can only imagine if you look at one of these tents that you see have popped up in the number and the amount of inventory they have, if a fire were to start in there, it would just be drastic.
Yeah, you talk about something that's got that much powder in it. You put it all together, you got a major deal there. I think.
And we've been pretty fortunate. We haven't had to deal with a lot of the malicious activity that kind of come with fireworks, the placing them in, I hate to say, mailboxes.
Don't get any ideas.
Don't get any ideas because that is a federal offense.
Yes.
But we get those occasionally where someone will put one of these larger firecrackers in something and cause some destruction, and you're basically creating a bomb.
Right.
And who knows who's going to get injured, what kind of damage it's going to cause. So those are taken very seriously, and we investigate them very aggressively to try to determine who's responsible for it.
So putting a firecracker or an explosive device in a mailbox is not just a city violation, it's a federal
violation.
Federal violation, unbelievable.
It is, and obviously because it deals with the mail.
Yeah.
But again, most of those are usually a little bit larger type of firework.
Yeah.
That creates quite a bit of damage. So what we encourage people is have fun, but like everything, do it in moderation. Be respectful of your neighbors. Animal control, that's a very busy time for them.
Right, I bet.
Because, the dogs just go wild with fireworks.
Right.
And that's usually one of their busiest seasons because they're collecting dogs. So again, I'm sure for animal control, if your dog does run away, check animal control over the next couple of days.
Right.
To see if it's been picked up.
Yeah.
So again, enjoy fireworks. It's fun. We've all done it. We all enjoy it. But remember, there are limitations on it, and stop when it's time to stop.
Okay, and one more time before we're out of time. But you can shoot them when now?
July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Okay.
From 10 in the morning till 10:30 at night.
Okay.
Then July 4th. 10 o'clock in the morning, and you get an extra hour till 11:30 at night.
Okay, on July 4th. All right.
And then that's it.
That's it. You can buy them right now, though. They're on
You
sale.
can buy them, you just can't shoot them.
All right. Paul, thank you so much for coming by today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back in a moment with more living following these messages.
You've won just about everything there is to win in racing. What's next?
I'd like more people to know about ER Extra.
The emergency room at Harton Regional Medical Center?
I just want them to get the best care they can get.
That just gets me right here, Mark.
Maybe you'd like to pay them a visit.
ER Extra at Harton Regional Medical Center.
ER Extra. Extra fast, extra easy, extra great.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with Newsleader on Channel 6, your local information network.
When you see the sign, The Main Event, take a close look inside at a hair studio that offers services by some of the best master stylists in Middle Tennessee. These stylists offer a list of services that compete with large city salons, from trendy cuts for men, women, and children to the latest color techniques, including highlights and bold color accents. Other services offered include permanent hair weaving and relaxing to formal hairstyle for that special occasion. You can also give yourself a very special treat with a full makeover, including full body waxing. For your convenience, we are open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. until the last client leaves happy. Call and make your appointment at 931-571-8682 or stop by our Tullahoma location at 207 North Jackson Street. Pamper yourself at The Main Event today.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Click the links.
Oh, sweet Lisa, you're so fine, like a very fine wine. Girl, I need you in my life. Will you be my wife?
Charter Internet has more bandwidth to support all your devices. Experience the power of Charter on the nation's fastest internet.
Welcome back to Living. I'm so honored and blessed today to have on the set with me Alicia and Andrew Booker. Welcome. Hi.
Hey, Peggy.
I love you guys. We are here to talk about several things. And tell us where you live first. Where do you live, Andrew?
We live in Nashville, actually.
Hermitage.
And we're going to share a video soon that gives the audience an idea of why you're here, but mainly you're here because we're raising money for Rex.
Right, who is the service dog that I've been paired with through a wonderful organization called Retrieving Independence. And
when did you hook up with them?
I hooked up with them last November.
This is pretty.
Actually, sent my application into them, and Karen, the director, said that it usually takes about 3 months for them to review and approve it, and they called me the day after they got the application.
And they approved it right away, and it has given you hope.
Very much so.
And that to me, that's the wonderful part, that it's given you hope. And I think that if we could go ahead and show the video, it would give the audience an idea of what we're doing here, and we can talk over this.
Okay.
When did you first discover that you had these diseases?
I've actually had something added to me about one illness a year for about the last 8 years.
Since we got married.
Yeah.
Since you got married.
And progressively worse things.
And there's Rex, the beautiful dog that is going to help you.
Yes.
And not only do you have epilepsy, you have diabetes and this other disease.
It's called autonomic autoimmune ganglionopathy.
And you'll have to describe to the audience what that actually means.
It's actually where your own immune system attacks and kills your autonomic nervous system. Your autonomic nervous system is what controls everything you don't control with your conscious mind. So heart rate, digestion, pupil dilation, a lot of brain activity, blood pressure. So for a while it had me wheelchair bound because every time I'd stand up, my pressure wouldn't equalize and I'd fall down, pass out, and hit my head.
And that happened several times, didn't it?
It's still.
Yes. And I know that this past week you had a grand mal seizure.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Had a couple.
And that
of
was
them.
terrifying.
Yes.
And I think the thing that Rex will do for you, I love this picture, by the way. I love your optimism. You're always up, and I think you have every reason in the world to be down, but you never are. I never see that in you, and I think that God has blessed you with this great spirit of survival. And if there's any way that we can help to bring Rex home to you, look what a sweet dog he is. I mean, he loved you right off, didn't he?
Yeah, actually,
he just
that was one of the coolest
moved
things.
right into your heart, and he's moved into mine.
When we first got paired with Retrieving Independence, they brought 3 dogs for me to meet. And Rex came out of his cage first and completely of his own volition walked across the room, picked up his leash, and brought it to me and put it in my lap.
Isn't that the sweetest thing? I mean, how could... I would have cried. I mean, I cried when I saw that video. There was just something that's so special about that. And by the way, this website is for if you can in any way help toward donations for getting Rex into Drew's life for real. Right now, you go visit Rex. Is that correct?
Actually, yeah, he...
Has he been to your house yet?
No. He's being trained with Retrieving Independence in Linden, Tennessee, and one really cool thing is he gets weekend furloughs to go with volunteer families.
Oh, I see.
And they take him around to places he'll go when he's with me, like grocery stores, movie theaters, places like that.
And so let's tell the people exactly, maybe Alicia, jump in here. What is it that Rex will do if Andrew has a seizure and nobody's around?
Well, one of the things is they're going to train him. Will be happening soon, closer to September. Rex will be able to sense a seizure before Andrew even has
before it happens.
Yeah. Something about a heart rate.
He recognizes. And he becomes
not quite sure
alert
how
to
it
that,
works,
yeah.
but yeah, and he'll be able to tell Andrew to get on the ground. Because right now, Andrew, when he has a seizure, he doesn't know when it's happening, so he could be standing up and just fall straight down.
And so Rex helps him to
get on the ground and cradle around his head, because that's one thing is when his head will shake, and
to keep his head up,
to protect
so
it.
that the oxygen is going to the right place.
Right.
And if literally he can't find you in the house, what does he do?
We have a call button that's on the ground. Like, I could hit it if I wanted to and couldn't find my cell phone, and it calls an emergency alert system.
I just think that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so the alert people are usually there within a short amount of time.
5-10 minutes.
And that can save your life.
And Rex will be able to hit that if he can't find me.
I just think that's the most awesome thing. I know it takes a lot of money. Approximately, how much do you feel like you have to raise?
Well, it takes $20,000 to $25,000 to raise and train these dogs.
Right.
Retrieving Independence is really cool, and they just get as much as they can donated from outside sources and charge $8,000 just to pair Rex with me.
Right.
And then it's about $500 for me to go get trained, my training, and then about another $1,000 on top of that, and then there's all the food and shots and vet bills
and putting a fence in your yard so that you can let Rex out occasionally, which he will certainly need.
I can't really walk him, and then also he's got to have the specialized vests that he has to wear when we go out and stuff like that.
And what does the vest do?
It says service dog on it, and it lets me into buildings and stuff like that.
And it lets you into buildings.
It also says what's wrong with me on it, so if I pass out or something.
I know that quite a bit of money has been donated to this at this point, and I would like to share with you that didn't you go to high school here?
Yes.
And run track?
Yes, I
did. With the likes of Allie Singleton, and who else did you go to school with? A few other people, lots of people. Kendall Lynch, I just have to remember that crew. But anyway, and you grew up, got a degree, married Andrew, and then boom, you got hit with some of these diseases. And our time is short. If there's any last words you'd like to say to the audience.
I just want to thank you for having us down here, and just everybody for watching. And we've already received, like she said, a lot of help and a lot of love and support, and I love this community too. My dad used to be a pastor at the First United Methodist Church in Winchester, and grew up in Sewanee, and I know that there's a lot of special people in this town, and I just appreciate everybody for taking the time to listen to us. And
I have been so touched by your story, and I love you both, and I know that good things are going to happen. And we all pray that Rex will come through and get in your life and join Roman, your other dog.
Yes. We're excited.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Peggy.
We'll be back with more of Living.
Are you a shoeanista with no place local to find your style? Well, now you don't have to travel any further than Bren's Shoe Boutique, located at the Village on Jackson, 1940 North Jackson Street, Suite 120 in Tullahoma. From funky to formal, you can find the fit and style that will make you smile at Bren's. A shoeanista herself, owner Brenda Kemp offers brands like Rocket Dog, Jessica Simpson, Mia, Nine West, J. Renee, Bandolino, and more. Want that accessory splash that none of your friends have? Bren's offers a selection of one-of-a-kind handbags and jewelry with just the right bling. So if your shoe selection doesn't stack up, find what you've been looking for at a price you can afford at Bren's Shoe Boutique, now open in Tullahoma.
Hi, this is Peter, and I work for the American Red Cross. During events like this, people are always asking how they can help. For just an hour of your time and a little stick in the arm, you too can help save a life. There's always a constant need for blood. Make an appointment with the American Red Cross and donate some blood. Call 1-800-RED-CROSS or go online to redcrossblood.org. Thank you.
The Charter Triple Play lets you experience TV, internet, and phone the way you want with no contracts. Hooked on HD? Now over 100 HD channels available. Movie lover? Get 10,000 on-demand movies and shows. 1,500 in HD, including movies in 3D. Missing your favorite shows? Record and watch TV with DVR service for 4 rooms and over 780 hours of storage space. Get Charter TV for $29.99 a month. Photo fiend, music fan, video streamer? Switch to super fast Charter Internet and do it all with the bandwidth to support all your devices. At 30 megabits per second, Charter Internet is 10 times faster than the phone company's DSL. Get Charter Internet for $29.99 a month. Want more talk for less? Charter Phone has unlimited long-distance calling with no added fees like the phone company charges. Get Charter Phone for $29.99 a month. The new Charter Triple Play. TV, internet, and phone for just $29.99 a month each when bundled. Call 855-81-T-PLAY now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And, you know, the 4th of July is just around the corner. And one of the things that happens in Tullahoma every 4th of July is the great Kiwanis Club fireworks show and music and air show and whatever else is going on. But we have the man, Dr. Mike Rutherford, here with us today to give us a clue into the special activities that you guys have planned for this 4th of July.
So we're excited. This is about the 44th year that we've done this event, so we've got a long tradition of doing this. And we think this is a great event for the community.
Oh, it is.
Rich, poor, brings everybody together.
Right, right. And it's happening at the Tullahoma Airport.
Yes.
And it is going to be on the 4th of July?
On the 4th of July. Gates open at 5 o'clock. Activities will start around 5:30. And activities will be pretty much continuous all the way to the end of the fireworks.
Okay, well, speaking of activities, what are some of these? What will people be able to see when they come out there?
There will be a few planes out for static display. Sequestering got our government planes that we've had in the past years, but we'll have a few private aircraft for people to inspect with the pilots. Mm-hmm. We'll start around 5:30, 5:45 with a singing of the national anthem, and if we coordinate it right, we'll have skydivers bringing in the American flag on top of that. Same little musical group, they're going to also perform God Bless America. We'll have a Pledge of Allegiance, we'll have a prayer. We're going to have an address by the mayor of Tullahoma. We will probably have a Volunteer of the Year or Citizen of the Year that we will recognize. Then we'll have a band perform from Nashville.
Who is that?
Annie and the Hot Club. And it's a jazz band.
Who?
Ed Hogue, who is very musically inclined, he's the one responsible for bringing this particular band in. We will then have about a 30-minute air show. The band will come back on and play till about 9 o'clock. Fireworks around 9 o'clock. It's dark enough at 9.
Yeah.
And the fireworks will last about 30 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So this is free.
It's free from the standpoint of anybody coming through our gate does not have to pay any money.
But they can have an opportunity to maybe leave a donation if they want to?
They can. We will have our hands out. We'll actually have some buckets for people to throw money.
Not just your hands, you'll have a bucket, huh?
Yes. And we're also very dependent on local businesses being sponsors for our events, so they give us the seed money, and then we top it off with not only the people who donate money, but some of our food vendors, we also make a little bit of money off of that too.
So there will be food out there.
We will have pizza, hamburgers, barbecue, chicken wings, soft drinks, water, popcorn, that kind of stuff.
That kind of stuff. Approximately, just the fireworks, what's the expense in something like that? Because I don't have a clue.
In 29 minutes, we shoot off right at $10,000 worth of fireworks.
Whoa.
So that's the biggest expense. The sound equipment and the band that will be performing is our second biggest expense. The air show this year will be also a major expense, but not quite as expensive as the other two big items. Porta potties, we have to pay for those.
Yeah,
we'll have porta potties out there.
Yeah.
And there's a few other odds and ends that we also have to pay for. So just to give you a dollar figure, in the $20,000, $25,000 range is about what we'll spend for this particular event.
And normally, I know it's hard for you to probably figure this out, but approximately how many people come to this performance and show?
I want to preface that by saying 2 years ago was our all-time best attended show. And by our estimates, we had 11 or 12,000 people, plus a huge number of people that sat in their cars in the parking lots outside the airport. Last year, with extreme heat, we got up to 105, 106, and our crowd was much smaller last year. We estimated last year maybe 3,000, 4,000 people, something like that. We're hoping to get back into that 10,000 plus number crowd this year.
Well, and as you say, on that night, you can leave the airport, if you can get to the airport, and there are people parked all down Cedar Lane. They're parked all down Jackson Street, in all the parking lots, you know, at the mall, at the stores, because that's close enough where they can look up over the trees and see the fireworks go
off. Yes, and the air show too.
And the air show as well. So it's not just the airport, but it affects all of that area around there. A lot of people go to the high school. Sit in the bleachers at the high school and watch it from the football field.
We actually started the band 2 years ago in an attempt to get some of those people who park around the periphery of the airport into our arena. Mm-hmm. And I think it worked. It worked. So that's a big draw to bring people in. And even those folks who stay outside the airport, don't forget, you can still contribute money to our event.
Right.
It's not a free event for us. It takes a lot of bucks to run this event.
And how many people in your club, and I know it's not everybody can participate in everything, but it takes about how many of you folks to pull this off?
You know, in our club we have about 28 members, and just about every one of those guys is going to be out there that particular night. But it also takes a lot of people not in our club, and I can't begin to tell you all the people I would leave somebody off. The volunteers.
Help, yeah.
And we even have people from out of town that come and help us put on this event.
Right.
So it's a big community-wide event.
It's not just a Kiwanis Club event, it's a Patriots event.
It is very much a Patriots event, yes.
And so anybody who cares has an opportunity to get involved. How can somebody donate some money? A business wants to sponsor. Right now, you've got that camera right there, and you can tell them where they can do that.
Call me. I'm in the phone book, so if a business wants to sponsor, but just ordinary folks who want to contribute, on our website, KiwanisFireworks.com, you can do a PayPal donation. Site's actually down today, but I hope it'll be up and running tomorrow.
Okay.
So contribute those bucks.
There you go, Dr. Mike Rutherford, the Tullahoma Kiwanis Club. Thank you for what you do, partner. For 44 years, you brought fireworks and a celebration of the 4th of July to Tullahoma and the surrounding area. Folks, will be right back after these messages.
Let the Smokehouse be your mountain getaway destination in beautiful Monteagle, Tennessee. Enjoy our cabins, restaurant, and old general store. Shop thesmokehouse.com featuring homemade barbecue sauces, jellies, and many other fine Tennessee products. Our live Music on the Mountain series features some of the best local and Nashville talent every Friday and Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. No cover, kids welcome.
The highest standard of trust offers a sense of safety and comfort. It's established over time. You know when you see it. You know when you feel it. There's a standard of trust in healthcare. It's the Joint Commission Gold Seal of Approval. In 2003, Life Care Center of Tullahoma voluntarily achieved this accreditation and maintains it still today. Life Care, meeting a higher standard because residents matter most.
Family's favorite show shouldn't have to fight to be seen. With Charter, you get 4 DVRs, so now every family member can watch what they want, when they want, where they want, without any battles. Call now to get DVR service for your home.
All right, this is South Jackson Civic Center, and this is PACT, which is the Performing Arts Camp for children and teens. And this year there are around 120 children participating in the PACT camp. It's a 2-week camp at South Jackson Civic Center. Hi, are y'all having fun? What are you doing? Are you making a tie? This is in the hall. This is a little bit older group right here. And they're learning dance steps.
4, pivot, 5, 6, 7.
This is another group, and they're dancing or rowing or doing something, but it's a learning experience. All of this is a learning. Right now I have Erica Wonder, the director of PACT, and Eric Peterson, and give us a little diagram about what's going on here for the past couple of weeks for the PACT camp.
Okay, well, here at camp, we're working on 4 different areas of the performing arts: acting, singing, dancing, and tech. So they get to go to workshops all day long. They'll hit all 4. And tomorrow they get to put on a showcase of everything that they have learned. So they'll do 2 songs per group with their dance. And then the oldest group gets to do skits that they have learned. So they're pretty excited about that. And then the oldest kids also get to specialize in either acting, dance, music, or tech. Our tech crew is kind of all around us right now, setting up for the show. Our music has learned a special song, dance has learned a special dance, and those are the kids doing the skits, the actors.
Right. And what age group does this encompass, from where to where?
We have kindergarten through high school this year. We have pretty much everybody.
And about 120 kids this year?
Actually, we hit 130 this year.
130,
yeah.
Okay.
All was said and done.
And Eric, what's your position other than helping her?
Well, I am the assistant director of the overall camp, but I am also the tech director. I am in charge of this lovely tech crew that you see around us.
Okay.
And I am in charge of teching the showcase, which is tomorrow at 5:30. So I've got some of my tech crew running sound, running lights, running our projector. I've got stagehands, stage managers. That's all my department. And I've also been doing the tech workshops these past 2 weeks, which we've taught costuming, we've taught makeup, we've taught how to light a stage, we've talked about set design, we've talked about stage etiquette. I mean, anything that is pretty much anything that's behind the scenes in a show is what we cover in tech, and we've covered it the past 2 weeks.
Very good. So we can look at the two of you and look at what's going on here at South Jackson Civic Center and know that the performing arts in our area are being brought forward by a younger group of people, and that's wonderful.
Absolutely. We want to keep the arts growing, so we start with our little bitties and all the way up. We want to keep them working hard.
Start them young and keep them going.
Look around, the changes catch your eye, and you come to realize one can make a difference. Since 1915, Kiwanis International has touched millions of lives. When you help one child, you help the world. But one can make a difference.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're pleased to have joining us now Dr. Michael Bradley, who is a player in the sesquicentennial commemoration that's coming up this weekend. And quite appropriately, Dr. Bradley was telling me before we came on the air that he spent 36 years at Montlow teaching history, so he probably knows a thing or two about the Civil War and how it affected our area, don't you, Dr. Bradley?
A little, yeah. You look out your window and you see where it took place, then if you have a certain mindset, you begin to ask, what did happen and why did that take place right here?
Exactly. Yeah. And you have enlightened a lot of Tullahoma citizens, or a lot of area citizens, about that sort of thing, and I have to think you find that very, very interesting.
It's fascinating to me, partly because I had a great-grandfather that was born in 1850 and died in 1952, and I heard my first history lessons from a person who had eyewitnessed the events.
Unbelievable, firsthand. Yeah.
Firsthand. So that makes you think of history not as something dead, but as Papa Johnny's tales.
Exactly. And there's quite a story to tell about what happened right here in this area, and I think you guys are going to be telling some of that.
And we're telling it on the date at which it occurred.
Really?
150 years ago, Tullahoma would have been a buzzing place with over 40,000 soldiers inside what we think of as less than the city limits of Tullahoma, since Tullahoma was a much smaller place. Another 60,000 up at Manchester, advancing toward Crumpton's Creek. And it looked for a time as if we were going to have a major conflict just on the outskirts of Tullahoma. Just think, there might have been a big national park where Tullahoma is today had history been a little different.
And we didn't hear a lot about that, I guess, or as much as we might have otherwise, because there were other major battles.
There were a few other things going on up at Gettysburg and down at Vicksburg. There were major conflicts. 50,000 people get shot at Gettysburg. Several thousand surrender down at Vicksburg. So what happens at Tullahoma seems to be overlooked. You know, we like it or not, we remember loss of life instead of skillful generalship that preserves life. But that's
interesting concept.
Interesting concept, right? If you want to get your name in the history book, shed a lot of blood.
Exactly.
Sad but true.
Yeah. Okay. And this weekend we're going to be reliving some of that, I guess you'd say. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing.
We're down at South Jackson, which again is a very historic location, since that's where the Confederate Army of Tennessee actually had its headquarters encampment. Several hundred, 300 or 400 people, administrators camped there, carrying on their duties there. Now we hope to see several thousand citizens from the surrounding area coming down to see a living history program, encampments, watching people drill as they would have drilled, the soldiers would have drilled, seeing how they lived, how they ate, seeing the medical facilities. Also learning something about civilian life. We'll have quilters, blacksmiths, games for children. We'll have dancing, because people then preserved their entertainment just as we do today. We'll have a play. You'll hear more about that later. We'll have music from the appropriate time period, both vocal and instrumental. And incidentally, all of this is free to anyone who comes. There is a cost that's being underwritten in part by the city. A part of it's being underwritten by volunteer efforts. But anybody who wants to come will have a good day's history lesson and entertainment at no cost to them.
And this is going to be Friday and Saturday?
On Friday, down at Maplewood Cemetery at the Confederate plot there, Kentucky and South Carolina, the Sons of Confederate Veterans and the United Daughters of the Confederacy, are coming to dedicate monuments to the soldiers from those two states who are buried there. That means every state that has soldiers buried there will now have a monument at that location. Then there'll be a lantern tour of that cemetery that evening. And then beginning on Saturday at 9 o'clock until 5 or 5:30, a little later, we will have the events going on the grounds at South Jackson. This will culminate, incidentally, with a concert by the Fiddle Orchestra playing appropriate music. And incidentally, because the Tullahoma campaign, as historians call it, covered all of Middle Tennessee, Shelbyville had an event last week, then Tullahoma, then on Sunday, Cowan will be having an event.
I see.
So we're having truly a living history weekend commemorating the events of 150 years ago.
Yeah, I suspect that it's going to be, some of the things are going to be quite enlightening to people. One of them being the hospital situation, because medical care was probably quite different than it.
Oh, to say the least, it was quite different then. And one of the people portraying that medical care will be Dr. J.B. Cowan, who after the war became Tullahoma's town physician and practiced medicine here until his death in 1909. Dr. Cowan gave us a couple of medical innovations. One of the things that began to be done here was suturing wounds using horsehair. The Confederate forces had run out of silk, so they started using horsehair. This proved to be a very good thing to do because in order to make the horsehair limber enough to use, they had to boil it first. That meant they sterilized it. They didn't know they were sterilizing it,
right,
but they were. And that became a very effective way of suturing wounds. They also were using cotton to blot up the blood from a wound, then they'd throw the cotton away. Whereas doctors before had always used sponges, and then they would reuse the sponge and reuse the sponge and reuse the sponge. Now we know that by using cotton and then throwing it away, you're helping to keep the wound sterile. But when they said in those days they practiced medicine, that's exactly what they meant. But yes, you'll learn a lot from the medical care, and again, that has a very local tie.
What about anesthesia?
Anesthesia was in widespread use, and almost all operations were performed using anesthesia. Anesthesia was easy to manufacture, and only in dire emergency situations did the Army ever run short of that. Simply placed a wire cone over a person's mouth, put a clean cloth over it, pour ether on it. Unfortunately, the doctor who was performing the operation was inhaling those ether fumes as they boiled off that cone, just like the patient was. So if the patient was sound asleep, the doctor may have been a little bit woozy himself.
But a person, there wasn't a lot of cases of you cutting off somebody's leg without.
Well, that's good. That's good Hollywood.
Yeah.
We see that a lot in B-grade movies, but that's not the historical reality.
How many people or how many soldiers were involved in those events here at that time?
Well, there were 39,000 Confederate troops in Tullahoma on June 28th, 29th, 30th, and July the 1st. Coming toward Tullahoma from the direction of Manchester were about 60,000 U.S. troops. And of course, they were not all in one concentrated place, but were spread out somewhat. But from Turkey Creek Road all the way around to the what we now call Highway 41A, they called it the Dirt Road. You would have found Confederate troops. Union troops all the way from Morris Ferry spread around across the old Tullahoma Highway, reaching over toward the Shelbyville Road. Quite a large number of people covering quite a large part of territory.
And the Confederate troops then obviously were substantially outnumbered here.
Substantially outnumbered, and no good will play to guard the flank. So on the night of June the 30th, citizens of Tullahoma went to bed under the flag of one nation. On the morning of July the 1st, 1863, they waked up under the flag of another nation.
So the battle occurred over the evening, is that?
Well, the evacuation occurred over the evening.
Okay.
Bragg decided to leave without fighting because there was nothing to be gained by fighting here and a lot to be risked.
Right.
If he fought here and was defeated, he couldn't get across Elk River in a hurry. So he fell back to Estill Springs, then to Deckard, then to Cowan, then up to the top of the mountain and on to Chattanooga.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we didn't have a huge battle at any time.
And that's the reason it's forgotten.
Right.
The Union commander, William Stark Rosecrans, received a telegram from the Secretary of War in Washington that said, "Our forces have won magnificent victories at Vicksburg and Gettysburg. Can you not do something?" And he replied, "Although our accomplishments are not writ large in letters of blood, do not let them be forgotten." But they have been.
Right, right. You know, and that's such a part of the history of Tullahoma, and I fear that we don't hear enough about that, or perhaps that maybe this will help enlighten.
Certainly it will enlighten people as to why they dig up Civil War relics in their backyard. They'll understand that this was a place of concentration for two major armies.
Right.
And in 150 years ago, June and July of 1863.
Do you have any idea how many people actually lived in this area, maybe in Tullahoma and Manchester at that period of time?
Tullahoma had about 100 houses and a population in 1860 of about 500. Some people had left because the stresses of war and the threat of a battle taking place here. But of course, an army always attracted followers, people who flocked there.
Oh, it did?
Well, sure. This soldiers like pie and honey and beer and all sorts of other things that the Army didn't provide, so somebody comes to sell those things.
Right. You know, in retrospect, it makes sense.
It makes sense. And, of course, there are all those pesky news people who come.
Exactly. So this was, when we talk about nearly 100,000 troops in this area that was normally populated by 500 or 600 people.
Yeah.
Oh, this is huge.
Yeah, you can imagine what the town must have been like with all, just the condition of the streets after that many people went tromping through, plus all of the livestock that accompanied an army of that size.
Right. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Truly unbelievable.
Okay, and again, folks, we're going to get to relive that this weekend on Friday and Saturday.
Down at the Maplewood Cemetery starting at 5:30, down at South Jackson starting at 9, Friday and Saturday.
Okay. All right. This and it's free.
All open free.
All right, so you don't want to miss that. Dr. Bradley, thank you so much for coming by today.
And thank you very much for asking me to come.
This guy is such a wealth of knowledge here, and I suspect that he had more fun doing what he did for a living.
You better believe it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And we'll be right back in just a moment with more living right after this.
It's time to celebrate. You don't have to drive to the city for your party supplies anymore. The Celebrate Party Store has opened at 1802 North Jackson Street in Tullahoma to service all your party needs. Over 300 varieties of balloons, party favors, gift wrap, boxes, bags, bows, plates, napkins, tablecloths, and cups of all colors. Catering supplies from utensils to serving dishes, Wilton cake decorating supplies, and chocolate melts. Wedding, baby shower, bachelorette party, and themed birthday party supplies from any sport to Hollywood. From a luau to Hello Kitty, Celebrate has it all. Hats, masks, patriotic decorations, piñatas, confetti cannons, and full-size celebrity cutouts, and a whole wall of greeting cards at 50% off. Celebrate is home-owned and operated by John and Karen Orr, who invite you to come in and see what they have. You won't believe your eyes because they have it all. Start your celebration at Celebrate, 1802 Suite 820, North Jackson Street, Tullahoma, 931-455-5550.
Charter Internet has the bandwidth to support more devices than anyone else in the market. So everyone can do their own thing, whether it's watching puppy videos or creating an all-powerful command center to mastermind the complete domination of the world, the universe, and... ooh, ice cream!
Get 30 megabits per second for only $30 and let it all in.
We're at the Bell Buckle Banquet Hall, and this is the Backroads Heritage Annual Fundraiser. It's a night of dinner and fun. There'll be a great speaker. There's Jim Tracy right there. There's folks are filing in. It's a little dark in here. We're going to look at the silent auction tables. There's the chimps right there. Look at there. They are down here in Bell Buckle. Being part of the Backroads Heritage. You know, they work real hard, both of them, on the history of our communities, and there's folks around, and of course the banquet facility here is going to give us a real good meal tonight at the Bell Buckle Banquet Hall, and folks are starting to come in, and we'll have a speaker involved in festivals, director of festivals in the state of Tennessee. Folks from Ledford's Mill right there, and the room is starting to fill up, and we're going to have a good meal here in a minute and have a good meeting and a wonderful talk. This is the Backroads Heritage Annual Dinner. There's a group from Manchester right there. Come in, Ryan French, Joshua.
I'm Mark Ship. I'm going to be your host tonight. Our past president, Janice Bowling, is not able to be with us tonight, but on her behalf, we're going to say hi too. He is with us tonight. He's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So I pledge allegiance. Backroads, we love to get together. We love to get together for a meal, we get together for a party, get together for a festival, and we have somebody tonight that's going to help us to do that better. And we certainly have our share of them. We have everything from the Moon Pie Festival right here in Bell Buckle. Winchester's got their Dogwood Festival. We've got Ghost Music and More over in Lewisburg. Jack Daniels has this little cookout every October for their National Invitational Championship. Fayetteville hosts a Christmas Bass. Of course, we have the celebration. We like our music here, whether it's the Music Fest in War Trace or that little shindig they just got through pulling off up in Manchester called Bonnaroo. So we have a lot of stuff going on. We're representative of all of it, and we're going to find out tonight how to do that, just our jobs a little bit better. Now, just as a reminder, Diane, our executive director, by the way, Diane, if you would stand up so I can recognize you. Backbone of the organization. In the 20 plus years that the Tennessee Back Roads have been here, we've been blessed and very fortunately blessed to have a volunteer board that has changed, come and gone over these years. But we have our sole staff member, Ms. Diane, and she just does an absolutely terrific job for us. And were it not for her efforts above and beyond what we're able to reimburse her for, we would not be where we are right now. So we're grateful for her. But as a reminder, she puts out an excellent monthly newsletter, and I would encourage you, it's an email newsletter, I would encourage you to contact her at 10backroads@bellsouth.net, 10backroads@bellsouth.net. Give her some information. She will plug your event, give her pictures with digital cameras. You can download that, and she can really do some good stuff with it. We have a good distribution. We encourage those that once you get your copy, it's an email, forward it on to somebody else that you know. Out of state is always helpful. Other organizations, businesses, or anybody you think could benefit by being in Back Roads. And you don't have to be a tourist destination to be in Back Roads. I'm not. I have no business in here except that I just love Tennessee and I love our area. And for all these years, I just encouraged it. Back Roads is as much a state of mind and a larger geographic place, just comprised of lots of little places. We are really fortunate. We have some big name events. We have Bonnaroo, we have Jack Daniels, we have the celebration. There are really big anchor events. If we were a mall, we could say, gee, we have that. And then we have everybody in between. We thrive, we live, we survive. I'm telling everybody about each other. If you liked it down in War Trace, you're going to like it obviously in Bell Buckle. Or if you're up in Manchester, who has several parades and events and festivals of their own, well, if you're going to like that, then be sure to go to Fayetteville, go over to Lewisburg. There's just lots of stuff on the back roads, and we want people to think in the big picture. So I encourage you to do that.
Looking for a unique gift for someone special, or perhaps something just for yourself? Then you need to check out Grady Mac Denim Company, right here in the heart of Tullahoma. Grady Mac features the full line of men's and women's Lucky brand apparel. Stop in and check out our denim production line. Grady Mac offers a full line of outdoor sporting apparel and much more. And check out our custom fly fishing equipment, fine art, and signed sports memorabilia. There's something for everyone at Grady Mac Denim Company, the most unique store in Tullahoma.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
The Charter Triple Play lets you experience TV, internet, and phone the way you want with no contracts. Hooked on HD? Now over 100 HD channels available. Movie lover? Get 10,000 on-demand movies and shows 1,500 in HD, including movies in 3D. Missing your favorite shows? Record and watch TV with DVR service for 4 rooms and over 780 hours of storage space. Get Charter TV for $29.99 a month. Photo Fiend, Music Fan, Video Streamer? Switch to super fast Charter Internet and do it all with the bandwidth to support all your devices. At 30 megabits per second, Charter Internet is 10 times faster than the phone company's DSL. Get Charter Internet for $29.99 a month. Want more talk for less? Charter Phone has unlimited long-distance calling with no added fees like the phone company charges. Get Charter Phone for $29.99 a month. The new Charter Triple Play. TV, internet, and phone for just $29.99 a month each when bundled. Call 855-81-T-PLAY now.
Welcome back to Living. We're going to continue today with the commemoration of Civil War activities here in Tullahoma, and I am so pleased to have with me Blossom Merriman, who is curator of South Jackson Museum, and Miss Sarah Crawford Young, who a lot of you know does a lot of music from the Civil War period, and you are dressed up as a widow today, and we know there were millions. Blossom, let's have you talk about what's happening at the museum.
Okay. Inside South Jackson, there are many things outside going on, but inside we will have the museum open all day long, and it is free, and there will be other displays and so forth. And in between the presentation of the play Soldier Come Home, there will be breaks, and we hope everyone will come back to the museum.
Because you have some great new exhibits.
We do.
You've worked hard and it's still working on.
We do. The emphasis here, a whole lot, should be on the railroad, because control of the railroad is the key to the South. And so our railroad right out here was very important, and both sides tried to control it, tore up tracks. It was quite a to-do in Middle Tennessee. So that is one of our exhibits, will be the Trains of Time or the Trains Through Time, whichever. And we will have the Model Railroad Club from Murfreesboro will be setting that up.
We'll be setting that up. And that will actually be inside the museum?
It will be, and, and we hope to have 2 trains running, maybe not both at the same time, but that's one of our new exhibits. But I want to emphasize also that the Battle of Hoover Gap diorama, done by Paul Pyle.
And everybody that remembers Paul Pyle, dulcimers, history,
everything,
photographer.
Yes. He brought that. He wanted a home for it when he was in his declining years, and he asked if we could house it at the museum. We were so glad to have it because it's folk art diorama, and the only thing in there that's exact is those Spencer 7-shot repeating rifles, and he did a tremendous job. He carved all of those things, everything in there, and he did it as a what we'd call these days a traveling exhibit, and he took it around to the schools in the back of his truck to show the children during the centennial of the war in the early 60s what the war was about. And I just think that's the
fact that we actually have it in our museum is awesome, and Paul Pyle made such an impact on the
We have a number of things, and we have, I call her my cousin Sarah, because when we reenacted together, we were cousins, and she was from Atlanta and Charleston, and I was, of course, just out here in the country, and she would always be bringing me, if she could, the blockade runners would get us some material, and we could make maybe a new dress, and we did reenacting together for some years.
Interesting years. And I know, Sarah, you're going to do some music. Would you mind sharing a piece of your music with us today?
Well, this piece, of course, is the music that's in the museum is actually my 19th century sheet music collection that spans the years from 1839 to 1879. And, of course, the pivotal years where the beginning of American popular song was the Civil War. Oh, excuse me. The war between the states.
Excuse me.
Isn't that terrible? Or the war of northern aggression. War of northern aggression. And well, you see, the Civil War term was.
Where is my fan?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you, dear. I'm sorry. I borrowed that from a Yankee newspaper reporter who said that. But the war of northern aggression. Oh well, they are. But this particular song is the most popular song in the South during the war, and it is said that Major General Benjamin Butler said if he ever found the man who wrote this piece, he was going to have him hanged, drawn, and quartered.
Wow.
But he never did find this man, because actually the tune is an Irish tune, and the song was written by a man from Arkansas. But this was widely sung, and if you will listen to the soundtrack, most people don't listen to soundtracks like I do. The soundtrack to every movie that John Ford directed, with, of course, John Wayne as his star, you will hear these songs in the background.
In the background.
Yes, you will. This song is called The Bonnie Blue Flag, and we do this for school children. It actually is it's a history lesson. There are 11 verses. Of course, we don't do all 11 verses, but it takes forever. But there's a verse with the name of every state in the Confederacy, and it is the history of secession. And it starts out this, and we'll do it, a little bit of it. We are a band of brothers and native to the soil, fighting for our liberty with treasure, blood, and toil. And when our rights were threatened, the cry rose near and far, hurrah for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah, hurrah for Southern rights, hurrah, hurrah for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. As long as the Union was faithful to her trust, like friends and like brethren, kind we were and just. But now when northern treachery attempts our rights to mar, we hoist on high the bonny blue flag that bears a single star. Hurrah, hurrah for Southern rights, hurrah, hurrah for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star.
I love that.
Glorious.
That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Sarah, how long have you
Doesn't
been?
that just get your blood up?
Oh, you girls.
We have a wonderful time.
You do, I can tell.
We do together.
You do, and you're doing some of these songs.
Some of these songs,
this weekend, Saturday.
In the museum, where it's quiet.
Where it's quiet, and if people come to see the play at 10 o'clock,
10:30
is
or
it
so.
10:30?
Well, I'm afraid I don't get around till about 10:30, 11 o'clock anymore. I've been doing this show for over 20 years.
Have you? So when the play is over, come to the museum and see all these wondrous exhibits. And I wish we had more time, but y'all, it's Saturday, it's all day, it's free. I mean, hey, go and commemorate the history of this area. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
so
us.
much what you're doing.
Ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more.
On the train test range, the search for any possible weakness continues. It's hard to stop a train. Really hard. Train, the most reliable for a reason.
Hello, my name is Joe Stroop with Stroop Sacker Refrigeration. I'm here to talk to you about a couple incentives that are going on between now and end of the year. First is your federal tax credit up to $300. Secondly, 0% financing up to 15 months on XL products. Third, spring promotion up to $1,100. Finally, $500 incentives from your local power distributor. Please give us a call at 455-8757. Thank you.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors, and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Cove Lake, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Martin Weekly, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, Rugby in the Big South Fork, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
If you like HGTV, you're going to like what Charter's been up to. adding so much free HD that Charter TV is a whole new experience. National Geographic HD, Animal Planet HD, Discovery HD, Sports in HD, movies, news, kids programming. Plus, Charter now has thousands of free movies and shows in HD on demand anytime. You want to see more TV in HD? Try Charter. It's smarter.
All right, we are back. You know, it's amazing how quickly this hour and a half goes
It is.
by.
It absolutely is. There's a lot of interesting things happening on here today, and this sesquicentennial commemoration thing is going to be huge.
It's big.
Isn't it?
It's
going
huge,
to be a
and I
big.
do hope people will take advantage of all this free activity and come support South Jackson Civic Center and the Historical Society and everybody involved.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fact, because there's a lot of work has been put into this by a lot of people, and very, very passionately, because the people who embrace this type of thing, as you've just seen in the interview that you had and with Dr. Bradley, they greatly embrace it, and it's a lot of effort's been put into it. So you need to go out and get involved. And while you're out there roaming around, don't forget to go to Bren's Shoe Boutique, and that's located at Jackson Square, Suite 120, and that is right next door to, that building is right next door to Ruby Tuesdays on Jackson Street.
And it opens Saturday.
Oh, well, it's open right now, but her grand opening is on Saturday. She's open from 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the afternoon,
And don't
Monday
forget,
through Saturday.
Yeah, and don't forget to go to servicedogfordrew.com and help support this young man.
Yep, and then we've got the fireworks coming up, 4th of July fireworks, KiwanisFireworks.com. And, you know, she's telling us we're about out of here.
Yeah, we're out of here.
It's been a busy day.
It's been a busy day. It's going to be a busy week. Folks, get involved. It's fun living around here. Make sure you're part of it.
Yes, it is.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.